The concept art book of Little Nightmares 2 exclusively comes in a digital format for specific editions of the game, such as Deluxe Edition. This art book contains concept work from Little Nightmares 2, with some of the content not showing up in the final game, and some showing different imaginations of the game. There are some content that were cut and didn't make it to the game, including some intriguing characters, which definitely worth the mention in this video, and what they could possibly bring to the table if they did make the cut. Nonetheless, these characters and content might still make it to the subsequent DLCs or games, and are very interesting to go over and theorize about. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. Beware, as there will be some spoilers ahead. With that being said, let's get right into the video. One really interesting concept art collection is the Trap's imagination in the wilderness. In one of the sketches, there is a big slab of rock held upright with a fragile stick tied to a sausage. Then on a subsequent sketch, a large skinny person is squashed under the rock, seemingly going after the sausage. As mentioned by Tarsier Studio, this concept art book showcases all the ideas they had since the beginning, which helped them come up with the ideas for the final released game. This concept art book showcases all the ideas they had since the beginning, which helped them come up with the ideas for the final released game. It seems as if they still had the idea of hunger and greed theme in the beginning, as the trap clearly shows that the residents of the city, or the viewers what they are called now, were baited by food, and in this case, a sausage. Therefore, the theme of hunger was still thought of in the second game, but evidently didn't make the cut. In the final game, the hunter relentlessly chases after Mono and Six on foot. But in the concept art, this was originally imagined to be different, with the hunter standing in a watchtower and possibly shooting Mono and Six. But I'm glad they decided to go with the hunter chasing after them, as it creates a lot more tension, as he's always a step away. Also, how could he accurately aim with a shotgun? Presumably he doesn't have a sniper rifle to shoot from the watchtower. There's also a simple sketch showcasing the end scene of the hunter, where he gets shot by Mono and Six. In here, he's trapped in one of his own bear traps. But personally, I think the final decision to corner Mono and Six in the work shed worked a lot better, making it feel a lot more intimidating. One aspect I prefer in the concept art over what made it into the game is the hunter's house. The house designs in the concept book are truly manifested from nightmares, looking as if the house has a mouth, being split in half horizontally by a tree falling over it. Also, they originally thought to create a well or a water pump next to the house, but ended up with an outback toilet. There's a house structure with two trees growing into it perpendicularly. This is a very interesting yet peculiar art, as it seems to be out of place. What's more interesting is the presence of several gnomes in here. How did they make it here? Was the lady ever present here? Are there other entities capable of turning children into gnomes? Or did these gnomes somehow manage to escape the maw and get here? There's also a bunker on the bottom right corner, which is easy to miss, and some other pits scattered around. I find this art difficult to explain, so leave your comments down below suggesting what are your thoughts about this piece of art. Here we have a character that did actually make it into the game, but did. The lunch lady is yet another creepy character who presumably made food in the kitchen of the school, as lunch ladies do. But whom did she make food for? The children in the school are clearly not capable of eating, as they mess around with the food in the lunchroom. So what was the lunch lady doing? It raises the question if she was even making any real food, or she was under the illusion that she was, while in fact she was just messing about in the kitchen with rotten food. As we were informed by the senior members behind the game, the antagonists in this game do not have any clear goal or motivation. They are driven by base instincts and assume their previous roles mindlessly. How did the lunch lady die though? It's not very clear. It might be due to not eating food, or maybe from food poisoning due to eating rotten food, or maybe the bullies killed her. But the most likely theory is what It's Just Jord mentioned, that possibly real children who were imprisoned plotted to kill, trap, or disable her in order to escape the school. And one likely child to do that is no other than the Lollipop Kid, the kid from the comic app we were introduced to, who is running away and then gets caught by the teacher. There's another sketch of a man with a broken face taking the seat of the teacher. This character presumably was a porcelain figure like the bullies, but a fully grown one, who didn't make the cut in the game. I wonder what his abilities would be, or if he would be just as fragile as the bullies. The Doctor by far has one of the most different faces in the concept arts compared to the final game. There are different imaginations of the Doctor, with the first one having an extremely droopy face and no eyeballs. Another sketch is quite similar to the first one, but in here the Doctor has eyeballs. I'm not too sure which I prefer, the model in the game or the sketches. Let me know which you prefer by leaving a comment down below. Another collection of arts displays some intriguing ideas. One shows a sequence we get confronted by in the radio tower. The never-ending staircases in a scrambled time and space. This kinda hints out to why the Doctor is suspended on the ceiling rather than walking. It seems as if the radio tower affected the hospital worse than the school, as it's closer to the radio tower. This distorted the reality for the Doctor and changed his center of gravity to be upside down. That is why in a room, all the hospital beds are suspended by ropes as well. It seems as if the Doctor initially wanted to make sense of it all by changing the location of items in the hospital, by putting them where the center of gravity is supposed to be in his perspective. A sketch also expands on that further, with chairs being suspended upside down as well. Another sketch shows the Doctor performing some sort of surgery on a patient in a theater, with other distorted student doctors present and watching him. The Doctor in here is standing upright, not being morbidly obese. The patient, however, has a distorted face as well. If I could theorize what is happening here, this collection of sketches are showcasing the history of the hospital since the start of what happened when the radio tower appeared. It seems as if the Doctor was still performing his usual tasks mindlessly, while his world around him was slowly getting distorted and disorganized. He possibly even tried to make sense of it all by suspending the beds and the chairs of the hospital. But slowly, he forgot the question to why these things are happening and started conforming to this new distorted reality. As Mervick said in a previous interview, the world of Little Nightmares came to be what it is because the residents ignored the very same question. Therefore, the Doctor slowly forgot about the question and accepted his new world. The patient stays similar to what appears in the game. The limbs and heads of real people are cut off, and instead, masks and prosthetics are attached to them. In a segment of the game, we can see that the dead bodies are still dead, even with the lights off. It's only the prosthetics that move and propel the dead torsos. It's something to do with inanimate objects obtaining life in the Pale City, the prosthetics and the porcelain children, for example. In another concept art, Sex is sneaking behind a viewer with plates stacked on top of each other with smoke rising from the plates, seemingly hot, freshly made food, while the viewer is actually obese. In a previous video, I theorized that the viewers are fattened up, as mentioned by Bandai Namco's website, and sent to the Ma as guests in order for the lady to consume them. The TVs keep the viewers stationary, and somehow food is prepared to them to the point of them getting obese. In the comic app, we could even see the ghost sheet boy infiltrating a room with two viewers having towers of plates stacked on top of each other. Some other sketches showcase typical behaviors of the viewers, with one having a picture of the Ma. Now, why that's significant is because it could suggest that the viewers know about the Ma. as there was also a leaflet of the Maw at the end of Little Nightmares 2. It seems as if the Maw is an over-glorified place or an advertised place for the viewers to go to. Maybe they could only visit it when they're fattened up, and all that is done through basic instincts and a routine without much thought. There's also some other sketches that entail something else, that the viewers get sucked into the TVs and add up to the flesh mass of the eye monster. This is why the people's faces are distorted, collapsed, or pulled, as if they are slowly getting pulled into the TVs. Also, this could in a way explain why there are clothes of people lying around in the city. They probably have been pulled into the TVs out of their clothes. But there are some discrepancies, as in a lot of places the clothes are lying around, there are no TVs in sight. Also, the sketches show that some viewers literally have a TV stuck around their heads. Therefore, it's not an instant phenomenal getting pulled into the TV, but it's slow and gradual. I might get back to this in another video, as it would take a mighty long time to analyze and break down. There are some really interesting concept arts of the Thin Man, portraying aspects of his personality. By now you should know that Mono becomes the Thin Man, but why does he kidnap Six and chase after himself? I made a video giving some theories which you can watch by hitting the card above, but according to what the sketches suggest, the Thin Man seems to have been brainwashed by the Eye. He seems to have completely lost his mind with his constant grin. In several sketches, we find the passing of time and how Mono transforms into the Thin Man. As a kid, he is considerate and serious, but as time passes, he becomes an image or a shadow of a real person, assuming the role of a TV man, always smiling, laughing, and being a presenter. Even in the game, he becomes a glitch, with black particles floating around him. He doesn't seem to be a real human being anymore. Also, there's a strange sketch where the Thin Man and presumably Mono are seated and having a face-to-face. It's quite bizarre, as neither of them seem to be scared or hostile. It seems as if they're having a banter about the past and the future. The radio tower seems to have had many different concept ideas, with deformed and smushed viewers. There's a very interesting sketch where faces of people are watching Mono in a corridor where he was presumably walking in the radio tower. Another sketch shows TV screens stacked next to each other, with bodies of viewers dropping down through them, like grinded meat from a meat grinder. Truly grotesque and horrifying to look at. There's a chef in a kitchen fixing up food with tentacled face. It's difficult to explain, but the best I could say is that his or her head looks like pasta strands hanging up. This is reminiscent of a previous sketch where the head of a viewer is getting sucked into a TV, with the head deformed into different strands of tentacles, in a similar fashion to this character. I honestly can't tell what was supposed to be the significance of this character. He or she could simply be another viewer who probably enjoyed cooking. Leave your theories down below about this character. I love to hear your take on it. And finally, a really important character who didn't make it into the game is no other than the Barber, who has had his paintings in the Maw. We can tell this character is quite significant, as his barbershop was also thought of in this concept art book. At first glance, this character is reminiscent of a monster in a German storybook called The Story of the Thumbsucker, where a kid gets his thumbs cut off by a roving tailor by giant scissors, as he didn't stop sucking his thumbs. The barber, just like the teacher, seems to have eyes that never blink, who presumably uses his giant scissors to cut off children in half. I really hope this character makes an appearance in the future DLCs or installments, as he looks extremely creepy. And that about does it for this video, folks. There is also a concept art of the Comic Cap characters, which I might make a video about later on. Thanks for watching the video. For more videos, stay tuned right here by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. You can also follow me on Twitter, where you can contact me directly. Till the next time, Have a fantastic day.